So this meeting tonight is just kind of getting a feel for where everyone is at and planning for the year, kind of giving you some tips and tricks. And we'll start with a icebreaker called looking around. So if you have video capabilities, this works better if we can see you. So you can go ahead and turn your video on. If not, we trust that you are following the directions we're giving. So how this goes is you're going to stand up, and I'm going to give you a set of directions. And you're going to have to either, when I say up, you're going to tilt your head up and look at the ceiling. When I say down, you're going to lower your head and look at the floor at your feet. And then obviously when I say left, you're going to look left. And when I say right, you're going to look right. There we go. So we're going to go ahead, and it's just going to be real quick, rapid fire. So I'm just going to randomly shout out some directions and hope that you keep up. So up. Make sure you look up. Down. Left. Right. Right. Left. Up. Down. Right. Down. Left. Down. Okay. Now we're going to try and spice this up a little bit. So anytime I say up, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to look down. Every time I say down, you're actually going to look up. Left will still be left. Right will still be right. So again, when I say up, you're actually looking down. And when I say down, you're actually looking up. So right. Left. Up. Down. Right. Down. Up. Left. Down. Left. Up. Right. Okay, that's good. The point of this was to get your mind kind of thinking about things that might be different. It's difficult to learn new concepts without unlearning some concepts. The old way of doing things can interfere with new practices. So thinking about that, sorry, my puppy is kind of being obnoxious too, so I feel you. So thinking about that, was it difficult when the first round that you did this and you just followed directions as you were told? You didn't really have to think about it much. And feel free to unmute yourself.
No, wasn't hard.
Okay. What made it easy?
Simple instructions.
Okay. What about the second time?
I'm the only one not unmuted, I believe. So I'm going to say because you didn't want me to do what you were telling me to do.
Okay. What made it challenging when I said up and down the second time?
I wanted to do what you told me and
Right.
not the opposite.
Right. Did you have to think about it at all?
Yes.
Awesome. So as we go through tonight, just keep that in mind that some of these things that we're going to be talking about are new concepts. They might not be to you, but we just encourage you to have an open mind, and especially moving forward this year, this is going to be different for everybody. And we're all going to be learning new things. We're all going to be figuring this out together. So with that, let's see. If you want to use that activity as we're moving along and you're thinking about how to potentially have your club meetings virtually, in the agenda we sent out, there's a bunch of links to different icebreakers for distance learning, online energizers, way to keep kids engaged online. So that activity is the first one. It's called Looking Around. And it's just an easy activity to do to get people kind of get in their mind thinking about, okay, this is something that I'm not used to doing. When they say up, I'm supposed to look up, not down. So with that, I will toss it to Gail if you want to either go over Zoom first or just go down the list.
I sure can. We can, you know what? I'll just go down the list just to keep everybody along with the agenda that's in front of them. Some announcements. We have a new version of 4-H Online. It's called V2.4H Online. Member and volunteer enrollment will start October 15th. They are delaying it 15 days just to ensure that all counties have projects and information needed for successful enrollment by volunteers and members. I will tell you, when you see this version, it is so much easier to understand, easier to follow. You will like this. Remember that 4-H Online is where volunteers and members show the area that they are interested in. So they're not fine-tuning down to foods, dairy foods I'm interested in. They're just saying, I have an interest in foods. This allows us to develop distribution lists so we can let youth and volunteers know when there are opportunities in those project areas. So when you enroll as a volunteer, make sure you check off all the boxes that apply to you. If you're a committee member, if you serve as a project coordinator, and we're going to have some changes in verbiage with volunteer roles with this 4-H Online 2.0, but we'll get all volunteers through the process, get you all enrolled, and make sure we have volunteers in every area that we need volunteers for. So 4-H 2.0. The next one is our National 4-H Week, October 4th to the 10th. There has already been some postings on the LaPorte County Facebook page in regards to that. You'll see some press releases regarding 4-H, some quotes from 4-H members in our program. And it is a way to do a bit of a kickoff into that enrollment week starting October 15th. Wednesday, October 7th, National 4-H Spirit Day. That's the day you wear green, wear it proud, wear a clover, 4-H mask, Purdue mask, spread the word. You'll also see that on our social media. Once again, Tractor Supply Company is supporting 4-H through their Paper Clover campaign. That is October 7th through the 18th, also around the time enrollment begins. Go out and purchase items at Tractor Supply Company. Percentage of the purchase will come to us, and the money goes to the 4-H camp for the 4-Hers. Indiana 4-H Leadership Summit. Over the last couple of years, volunteer recognition has moved to this November Leadership Summit Day. It is a time for youth in high school and volunteers to have training. It will be virtually this year. However, there are sites where there will be some live trainings in our area, meaning Area 10. Elkhart County will be hosting some activities at their fairgrounds. But please consider saving the date, November 21st. It's from 8 to 3, where you can partake in some trainings. And our first full volunteer meeting will be October 13th at 6 o'clock. It will be virtual. just like this one. We'll be discussing the volunteer letter of intent, the forms needed. Let me back up. 4-H club forms that will involve planning and any fundraising activities you may have in mind for your club. Also goals for clubs and committees. Your volunteer expectation and role descriptions will also be explained, which is what I was referring to when it comes to 4-H Online 2.0. Do you want to go from here, MJ?
If you are planning on having in-person meetings, if committees or clubs, any 4-H activity that's in person, we need to have a COVID safety plan that's submitted, and it's required no less than 3 weeks prior to a gathering. And it's basically just asking, how are you going to maintain social distancing? Who's going to ensure masks are required? Who's going to be sanitizing any shared spaces, whether you're using chairs, tables, that sort of thing? What's your check-in process? Does the facilities you're using have a way for you to have one entrance and one exit, and just a constant flow of traffic? It looks daunting, but it really is not. They really just want to know, how are you going to do these things and who's going to ensure that they happen? These can be submitted to Kathy Ullman in our office, and then she will forward them onward to campus. If you have a large club that's more than 50 people, there's a different form you have to fill out, and Kathy can give those to you if you just let her know that you're planning to have more than 50 people. So that is pretty much that on safety plans. And then next, we're going to kind of talk about, the pros and cons of in-person versus virtual gatherings. And we have a Google Doc for you to think about as well. Gail, did you set up those polls?
Yes, I did. Would you like to run those now?
Yeah. Do I just hit the button? Oh, yeah, look at that. You should be able to see a poll that popped up on your screen if you're on a computer. I'm not sure what it looks like on the phone.
Okay.
Can you see it?
See, we learn with technology as well. If you could take time to vote on these questions. There we go. Nice.
Okay. 4 out of 6. 2 more.
They may be on phone. There's at least one phone call. 5. Okay, I think we've got it.
So some of us are feeling a little nauseous or butterflies in their stomach. That's a-okay. Some are not anxious at all. That's awesome. No sweat. I've got this technology. Great. Not sure how you feel. Also, that's not bad. We also feel like that. We're not sure how we feel either. Zoom. Okay, looks like most people are most familiar with Zoom. We'll kind of I'll talk a little bit about Jamboard and Google Classrooms and a little bit of like Kahoot. I personally haven't set up a Kahoot quiz, but I'm familiar with it. I've participated in them, so we can kind of talk about that. So I'll go ahead and end this. All right. Okay. So with that being said, if you are on a computer and you click on this Google Doc link right here, you will come to a set of questions on this document. And we would like you to I think you all should have access to it. I would like you to kind of just jot down some answers to these questions. So the questions are your typical meeting venues allowing you to use their facilities at the present time? And If you can't see the chat box, here, let me see if I can share it over here. Can you see the questions on the screen now? Let me stop sharing. Oh, new share. Hold on.
I can see the Google Doc, but I can't see the questions because I'm on my phone, so I can't.
Oh, okay. But you can see my screen that I'm sharing?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want, you should be able to type in the chat box on your phone answers to these questions if you want, or you can talk to us about it. This will just help us, or you can even go in later and have access to it and type your answers in. This will kind of gauge what we can share at the October 13th meeting with you guys. And we can kind of research some of these answers so we can better help you. So are your typical meeting venues allowing you to use their facilities at this present time? We're finding that some clubs are really struggling to find proper meeting space that allows social distancing.
That is true for me.
Okay, because you meet at the Kingsford Heights Library, right?
Yes.
If you will meet in person, how will you engage with those not comfortable attending gatherings at this time? Will you broadcast the meeting for those at home? And then what resources do you need? And then how can we help you overcome any challenges you foresee? And then what is one thing that you are hopeful about for the 2020-2021 season? So Jeannie and I'm guessing Heather, that they do have a meeting space. They're offering virtual option and unsure about resources right now. Okay. And just keep in mind, this document will be open for a while till the next meeting. So as you kind of think about these questions, take some time and let us know what resources we can find for you or help you with, especially if you're offering like a hybrid thing. Purdue does have some capabilities for, I think, recording and all that sort of thing. Or if you do have internet access at your venue, we can set up a Zoom meeting room for you that you can use too. So, okay, let me go back to the agenda. Gail, do you want to kind of talk more about Zoom and what they can do? And
absolutely. I believe COVID threw all of us into the Zoom world. We were a couple of those people thrown into the Zoom world. We probably spend 50% of our days on Zoom meetings right now. We're no longer traveling to campus to see the specialists. Our conference was even held via Zoom. So we've gotten to use it quite often. It really is a user-friendly platform. Trust me, even the specialists who set up their programming on Zoom have moments where they lose connection and we all just sit tight and eventually that connection comes back. In this technology world, nothing is perfect. So what I did with the polls, the poll that came up, that is a part of Zoom. When you host a Zoom meeting as a private user of Zoom, you may be limited to a 40-minute package that allows, is it up to 100 people? I know we're allowed many more, up to maybe 100. You're also limited on the fun tools that you can use within Zoom. With the Zoom package educators have, we can have all day long. It's unlimited, the length of our Zoom meetings. And we can have, I've been in meetings of, oh gosh, 300 plus people. So we have the capability to schedule Zoom meetings for you. We can then hand over host duties to you where you can use some of the fun toys that are on, Zoom. Let me see if I can bring up the whiteboard here. MJ, could you share the screen? Okay. So for instance, the whiteboard is one of the pieces where you can have people engage with you. In fact, if you want to hop on and try some of these fun tools, you can create text.
So up at the top where it says view options,
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, MJ.
say there's a drop down menu and it says annotate. You click that and a little toolbox pops up, and you can text, you can draw, you can use like some little stamp like this heart, and then there's an eraser, all that kind of stuff.
You can change colors. It's a fun way to interact with kids and really an easy way to interact with them. Yeah, nice job. So we have used this for, oh gosh, among educators, we place our input on here. It's a nice little brainstorming session. But you can share your screen, and this is a shared screen option that you can have as a host. You've got an eraser, so you can erase some things. Yeah, a whole lot of fun stuff. Let me stop that share. Okay. So if you are interested in wanting a Zoom meeting set up for you with these unlimited options and large meeting space, please contact us. We can set up the meeting for you, transfer host duties over to you before the meeting, and go for it. It's a lot of fun. The kids have had a good reaction to it. It is, again, easy to use. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts or questions about Zoom.
I did see questions about recording and all that. So that's part of the media release within 4-H Online that people sign that does cover like photography, videoing, those types of things. My suggestion would be, I believe in the new version, club managers might be able to have access to those waivers. I'm not for sure. If not, we can draw a report up for your club on who has signed them and who hasn't. And you can either let those kids know that haven't signed it that, hey, you know, this meeting is going to re-record it. Make sure you have this is where the camera is going to be, or the computer. Make sure you have your back towards the camera at all times, or whatever, you know, you're outside the frame, whatever it may be. You could also, if you wanted to record the meeting, but you didn't want to feature anyone, you could just cover the camera up so at least they have the audio of what's happening at the meeting. You don't necessarily have to do the video portion of that.
And if you, oh, I'm sorry.
Don't want to either, so it's up to you.
And if you want to set up a practice Zoom to work with it yourself, all the options are there for sharing your screen. You know, it's kind of nice to be able to be in your own space and set up these meetings and maybe work with your co-leader or whoever is the other adults in your club and use Zoom and practice with it. It's a great way. Gosh, we've had workshops on it, meetings on it, just basic conversations. We had office hours using Zoom. It's nice to be able to see the person or people.
And we have had, I think it was, I forget which club, maybe Mini Equine, but one of the youth, they set a meeting up through us and the leaders couldn't attend or couldn't make it. And one of the junior leaders in that club just hopped right on. She made sure people were getting into the meeting and they met, the kids met, and it was run by the kids. And that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve. So reach out to your older members in your group. Even your younger members might know how to do some of this stuff, because I know a lot of the schools are using, if not Zoom, they're using Google Meets or Hangouts, Google Classroom, that sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a 4-H club, MJ.
Yeah.
The adults was out of the area due to COVID, and she worked with the kids along with our office, and we kept the meetings going for her. So it was a really great solution for that situation.
Okay, so the next little thing I want to share with you all is this thing called Jamboard. And if you click on the link that was in the email we sent out, I'll also copy it in the chat box. Should be able to click on it from the chat box. Bring it on over here. Jamboard is similar to the whiteboard on Zoom, but it's just a little bit more fun. You can do different things with it, and you can use this in your meetings as well. So over, if you can see my screen, over on the left side, yeah, there you go. On the left side, you have this pen or marker, and you can click on that. There is a well, this is the eraser. I think you gotta hold down. How do I do that? Oh yeah, so you gotta kind of click on the pen and you can get a marker, highlighter, or a brush, and then pick your color. You can also select items to move them around. You can use a Post-it note. You can write, I think you can add an image. So that's how we got the clover here. You can draw shapes. You can also, if you click on the shape up near the left corner, there's a little fill color paint bucket. You can fill the inside of the color, and then the little icon next to it, you can change the color of the border. So this is just a fun little thing that you can use while you're sharing your screen on Zoom. It's through Google. It's called Google Jamboard. You can share the link so that anyone that has a link can see it. They don't necessarily have to have a Gmail or anything like that. So yeah, it's just a cool little thing. And then you also got, like, if you're trying to make a point, you got a little laser pointer. Yeah, there you go. So again, just another neat little tool. I learned this like a day ago. I really don't know much about it other than you can use it as a whiteboard. And I think you can also change the background and add an image back here, or yeah, there we go, like that. You can clear the frame. Let me put it back to this. You can do all kinds of little neat things, reminders on here, to-do lists, that sort of thing. So just something to jazz up your online meeting. So let me exit this little thing. All right, and then the other thing I will show you is Google Classrooms. I did set this up today, and I will show you this little thing. I don't know how to get this little brush thing off of here. I'll type this in the chat box too. So if you click on the link that I put in the chat box, it'll take you to this cool little Google Classrooms little intro thingy. And feel free to click around on some of this stuff. If you click on Join 4-H, it'll take you to the new 4-H online system. I'm not sure it's quite up and running yet, so you might not be able to see much in there. If you click on the little Purdue carpet, you'll see should take you to Indiana 4-H. It'll take you right there. It'll also take you to our website where you can find additional resources. We're planning to put a more detailed list together of, virtual resources that you can use, and it'll probably be in this 4-H Club resources page. But yeah, so feel free to click around. If you want to make one of these, it's called, I think it's just a Google Classroom. I did this in Google Slides, and it's just a PowerPoint. I went and I searched for like a wall background, and then you just start adding these little pieces to it and then linking items to your little icons. So I found this clip art of a bulletin board. I added the text, and then I added the hyperlink to where I want you guys to go. And then Gail and I made our little Bitmojis. But from that, you can also use Google Classrooms for your clubs. It's a cool way to keep all your announcements just in a stream message board, and people can comment any questions they have. So in this Google Classroom, I will also share this as well. Let's see, how do I share this link? I think if I just share this link, let me see. I don't know if you can pull that up or not. Oh, here we go. So I just shared the link in there, and anyone who has the link should be able to get into the classroom. If it asks for a code, this is the code up at the top. Type in here, class code. Mindy, did you have a question? You're on mute if you're talking. CBSDRIB. So that's the class code if it asks you for that. And in this, you can assign, for classwork, you can make assignments for your club. You can share a Google Calendar with them. You can add any material that you want them to see, like PDFs. If you want to share a copy of the newsletter in here, you could upload that PDF and add it in here. There's different things you can do. And like I said, utilize your junior leaders in your club or your older members, because on Saturday when I was talking to the kids, three of my junior leader officers at our planning retreat, I said, I'm not familiar with Google Classrooms, and they suggested it for better communication. And again, one of the youth sitting right there said, oh, I can make a classroom for you. And she pulled up her phone, had the app on there, and just briefly made a rough draft of a Google Classroom for junior leaders. So we're gonna tinker with this some more and fix it up, and this will be the way that junior leaders more than likely communicates this year. So, and I believe from the Google Classroom, you can also meet with people through Google Meets. I'm not for sure though. So let me go back. Does anyone have any tidbits, or if they're familiar with Google Classrooms or have any questions about it, or Jamboard, or anything we've talked about so far? Okay, so the next question we have for you is, what are you thinking in terms of meeting format in the short term for your clubs? I know Creative Clovers, they are planning to meet in person and doing sort of like a hybrid thing. What about everyone else?
We don't know what we're doing.
Okay.
If you would like to see if we can help you find a place, Mindy, we can, you know, feel free to contact us.
Okay.
Yeah, any thoughts you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we'll work with you.
And Cindy said no plans yet, which is fine. So kind of be thinking about some of these things. This next thing that we share with you, I don't know, did anyone get a chance to watch this YouTube video before this meeting? Okay. So this speaker is someone that talked to us at our last week at our 4-H update conference. And it talks about, they have a book. It's called A Chance of Awesome. And it talks about making, turning weeds. Like when we see a dandelion, do you see it as problematic or do you see them as something good? And it just is more about talking or thinking more about how can you change your perspective on this year. We know that it's incredibly challenging. We know this year so far is not what any of us ever imagined would be happening. And then even moving forward, how are we going to change our perspective and make this a positive experience, not only for youth, but also for yourselves as volunteers and just in general. So turning those weeds into wishes. How are you going to do that? And my dog is wanting in. Hold on. No one wants to share?
Or share any concerns you have. How can we help you? All across Indiana, people have been extremely creative. Things we had not thought of. There's a tremendous amount of statewide sharing. We posted something today on a program that is free and statewide. So we're reaching to not only 4-H members, but all of general public, especially at this time. So, you know, no idea is a bad idea. May need tweaking here and there, but jumping in, don't be afraid to make a mistake. As long as we fail forward, we learn from mistakes. I will tell you, lack of connectivity is inevitable. There are probably 1 out of 3 meetings where I'm totally kicked out of it, and you just wait until it comes back on. Yeah, yes, actually this morning as well. It's not even every 1 out of 3 days. So I don't want that to stop you from interacting with youth. The kids are eager to see their leaders and be involved again. So however we can support you, please reach out to us.
And this, thinking about like turning weeds into wishes, this is, yes, this year is different for 4-H, but it can be a super positive experience because you now have the capabilities, if you're broadcasting your meetings virtually as well, you can potentially reach kids that wouldn't be able to travel to your clubs otherwise, that want to participate, or meet youth from, you know, the northern part of the county and southern part of the county, or east or west, east or west. So this is a unique opportunity to, like Gail said, be creative. And like the speaker said, I don't know if he said it in the YouTube video too, but don't be afraid to tinker. Now is the time to tinker and have some fun with what you're doing. Bring the fun back, because a lot of kids need that right now, and adults.
If there are no further questions or any thoughts, I don't see anything in the chat room. Please mark October 13th down on your calendar. It's been posted, it's listed as an event on Facebook. Molly's doing a terrific job getting all our information out there. We are also going to be sending out a banner update of dates probably tomorrow. Tomorrow will probably go out for October, and we can talk about that at our next meeting, but every 2 weeks there will be an easy way to see what's happening date-wise. It's an easy read. You won't have to comb through tons of text in a newsletter. We're trying to make systems and communication as easy as possible. So please watch your emails. And October 15th is when we'll start enrollment. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
Hank says
we
bye.
actually did have a question, and it's in the chat pod, but it's above MJ's links, and it's about signing up in 4-H online and being able to attend meetings.
Not the way. Oh, the waivers. Oh, if they're signed during enrollment, and if enrollment is based on if fees are paid. So those first couple meetings, so what you're asking, if they've enrolled and they haven't paid by your first meeting, can they attend your first meeting? Correct? You're muted. Okay. Okay.
Yes, she says yes. That's what she means, MJ.
So that's a time they can attend that first meeting, but at that time that's kind of like they're warning, like, okay, you need to pay your state program fee, and by the next meeting, if you haven't paid, then no, you cannot attend. So if they come to the December meeting and they haven't paid their state program fee, technically they should not be there. Especially if they enrolled in October or in November. I mean, we really, really encourage them. The easiest way to pay is by credit card, because that's like almost instantaneous approval, as long as they filled everything out correctly. So it's to their benefit to pay by credit card, but obviously we know everyone can't do that. So if they can get it in as soon as possible, we have the drop box outside. They can call and just drop by, or if it has to be after 4, call and let us know, and we can stay a little bit after and get that.
No, I'm typing.
My dogs are getting restless, so.
Okay, thank you. I can unmute now. So I just want to clarify what you were saying. If 4-H online opens up October 15th, and we have a meeting the end of October, If you are not signed up in 4-H online, can those kids come to our October meeting, or can they not attend until they have signed up and paid through 4-H online?
The first meeting, yes, they can attend, and then that's where you give a reminder that, hey, you know, you need to sign up on 4-H online. It's now open. We encourage you to submit your payment as soon as possible and all that. If the second meeting they have not enrolled yet, then yeah, technically they're not, and they have not paid their state program fee, they're not covered under insurance. There's a little bit of grace in the first couple of meetings or when they first initially submit their payment, but ideally they need to be fully active and enrolled by January 15th, or they cannot be attending meetings.
MJ, we have another question. It's from Cindy Browning. Is there an easier way to get lists of members who have paid? We have always had to get it from the office.
Yes. In 4-H online, when the new version rolls out and everything's set up, I'm surprised you guys actually aren't this already, but we can make you club managers. And that way you would be able to see who's enrolling under your club, and you can draw a report from that list. You won't be able to see every single feature, but you'll at least be able to see who's enrolled, if they're pending, or I forget the new terminology they're using. So, but it'll be like pending or enrollment is under review or something like that. And then you'll see who's approved. So you'll be able to see a list once we give you club manager access.
We're also trying to email as much as possible to you to save you from coming out, especially when health and safety of everybody is of concern. We've had a tremendous amount of reports being sent to our volunteers via email. So if we can save you a trip, we certainly will.
And we haven't quite learned what the club manager side looks like yet and all the features that you will be able to see. I think there's a couple more trainings for us on this new version, and then they'll have instruction sheets and everything as well. And we're hoping Molly's become like our expert in 4-H online as well as fair entry. So we're hoping that she'll be able to join us for a meeting and share with you all how to do some of the features on 4-H online.
Which will help Cindy with this. I know we were supposed to be able to run those reports, but never could before.
Yeah.
So we want to help you be able to really utilize this system. This cleaner version of 4-H online, you will love. One of the things I really like about it, having only been in 2 trainings of it, is that you can now place a second family member as a contact. So if you had a youth that was in different homes, one on a weekend, one during the week, now both parents can receive information. That's for our distribution lists or emails to get out to youth and their guardians or their parents. So that's a nice feature.
You might be able to, can you still see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
I ask a lot, but I never know. This is what it kind of looks like on our end. I don't know. I'm just gonna pick. Oh, I guess I won't because we're recording. But this is just kind of the system. I don't know how to do it in a version that you all will be able to see, but it does look a lot cleaner. Let's see. One thing to note, you will see they're trying to change this, but units will be called, or clubs will be called units. It's the same thing. They are working on changing that title a little bit, but they'll still be groups that you can participate in, committees. I'm not sure what the words are, activities, that you're involved in or the youth are involved in, those different things. I don't have like a training account for what it looks like on your end though. So it on our end, it already is much easier to use.
And we will have a training, like MJ said, Molly has really put the time in to learn all of our systems, so it'll be a huge help for you.
Oh, hello. Yes, you will still use the same 4-H login information that you are currently using on this 1.0. And again, if you run into problems, like you forget your password, we'll be able to reset that, I think, or I'm not quite sure about that part yet either.
If it asks you to confirm the number of years you have in service and you're not sure, feel free to give our office a call. We do have that information here. So don't think anything's been lost. It's just a bit of a switchover. But I believe that is one area where it's asking for confirmation regarding years of service, and also with youth, the number of years in 4-H.
Awesome. We'll let her know that. Hank is showing off for people.
Yeah, Molly did an amazing job with the virtual exhibition. It was quite the choreography between judges and youth and adults and all of us attempting this for a first time. We all learned a lot for what we were given. It was amazing what she was able to set up. She set up the entire system and was able to get that exhibition going. We learned a lot from the judges because we were working with the judges firsthand, which gave us some information for the future of what they're looking for. It was a great learning experience for everybody.
This is just a side note. I meant to mention it earlier when we were talking about Zoom. If you do use Zoom through us setting a meeting up and you record it, I think, Gail, does it ask to send to the cloud or save to your computer?
Exactly. You have a choice of which you want. You want to make sure you have a cloud drive. Yeah. If you're saving to the cloud, many people think, oh, yes, and then they begin to wonder, where is that? So I have enough space where I always save it to the computer.
And if you end up not being able to find it, it might send to Gail's cloud, or I don't know how that works. Just keep that in mind. We'll get it to you either way if it comes to us. All right. No one has anything else. Again, go back to that Google Doc link in the agenda or email that we sent out and think about those questions. Please feel free to fill them in between now and the next meeting so that we can come to the next meeting with some more resources to help you or get a feel for where you're at in this process. So thank you for attending.
Yes, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on the 13th. In the meantime, feel free to drop us an email or give us a call.
Oh, you can probably stop recording now.